LinkedIn. It's a little bit later. It's about 6:15 here in Wilmington, Delaware. So maybe I'm catching some people out west. I haven't been on for a while, and I just wanted to quickly get on LinkedIn Live, and I think it streams to some other channels. As you know, I'm still kind of learning this. And I just noticed my shirt matches my company logo. So I look as if I was trying to be coordinated, and I wasn't. So I had a friend from grad school who works for community. She reached out to me to pick my brain. And I feel like it's been picked so much that there might not be any more brain left. But she wanted to know if I could work on this plan that she was putting together, and she wanted it to be funded by ARPA. And I said, whoa, whoa, whoa. If that's something that you really would like someone like me to work on, then I really can't be a part of helping you put it together. So the reason for that is it has to be competitively bid if it's going to be federally funded. And so then she wanted to talk about all the different ins and outs of the supplemental funding. And she said that she talked to someone who said that they were an ARPA expert. And I said, I find it hard to believe that there's any ARPA expert out there, the American Rescue Plan, because even if they were part of writing the legislation down in DC, or they're a K Street lobbyist, I mean, if you are, give me a call, let me know. But they don't know the ins and out of every single agency and how those notice of funding opportunities are going to work with all the different NOFOs that are out there. And even if they are, and we're getting to a very small group of people in the world, I have found working in disasters that a lot of people who work for the federal government and work with as contractors aren't really familiar with how the funding works when boots are on the ground and it actually gets implemented. And a lot of the problems, and we're already seeing this, is the capacity for communities to be able to actually apply for the grants. I actually put a blog post out there a couple weeks ago on my website, which is sacxassociates.com. And I think the challenge is a lot of these have quick turnaround times and they're complicated NOFOs. I mean, they have to be, so that's not a criticism of any of the agencies. It is what it is. But for communities that aren't like my friend, that aren't familiar with this type of funding, they've never done it before, it can get a little overwhelming. And then you add into, they had CARES Act money and Treasury ARPA money. And she asked me, can we use ARPA Treasury money to match a federal grant? And I said, no, you can't use Treasury money. I even looked it up to make sure, because you can use, in certain cases, HUD CDBG money. But again, I wanted to make sure, and I did look it up, that you cannot use the Treasury ARPA, because I thought if it passed through from the state to the municipality, maybe that wasn't any. But what I read is that that's not possible. So there's all these ins and outs, and it kind of irritates me that people are talking to these communities and just giving them wrong information to help them with, project management or procurement of getting the contracts. And all these places need this help. But I did tell my friend, if she's looking for help, she needs to know that the help of actually putting the RFP together, or the governance structure and oversight together, the grants management, you have to look at the companies or contractors that you're going to hire to do that too. So are they familiar with your space? So I'm in economic, which touches on a bunch of different spaces. So I've got a little bit of a lot, right? So, but if you're doing an economic plan, you want a strong economic company. But that's not to say you couldn't have a larger company with, as long as they have like a strong subcontractor involved with that economic background, economic planning, economic development, economic resilience. If you're having a large engineering company coming in to do your economic resilience plan, and they don't have a strong, huge like economic sector or department or a subcontractor, or a smaller company that has a lot of hours dedicated to it, I would question that personally, because I know, I mean, I wouldn't be part. I wouldn't put in a bid for an energy plan or a hazard mitigation plan. I would be part of a team because I know a lot about those types of plans, and I have worked with those plans, and I've worked with those groups. But I certainly would not go in on one on my own because I don't know. There's a lot of people who have that focus expertise. However, now we're looking at these plans, hazard mitigation, energy plan, all transportation, they're all starting to look at different components. So they are starting to look at the economic impacts and outcomes and SWOT and so on and so forth. So there is a place for having economic development, economic resilience, and economic recovery experts as a part of those other plans. But like I said, I would not be going and putting a bid in for an RFP or a request for proposal for a project that was not in my space. And that's true for grants management, project management. If you're bringing on people to do that type of work, grant writing, are they familiar with your space? Again, like I used econ as an example, but are they familiar with the federal agencies that you're working with? So US EDA, it works differently than HUD, which works differently than FEMA. And the other thing is the general appropriations for grant making is different than the supplemental funding. So are they familiar with working with supplemental funding and the oversight that's involved and compliance and transparency and the turnaround times? Because these are all different, and they're different even within one small agency. There's 6 NOFOs, for example, with US EDA. I mean, it's around 6. And the other thing I wanted to say is a lot of people now are saying, I would love to see how much the word resilience is being used now compared to 2 years ago. I think every sector and there's no right definition for resilience, or resiliency is the other word. I've been in the camp with some people in this space who say, resilience isn't something that you have, it's something that you do. And so some people are going to be chuckling because I'm going to be saying that a lot, because I do think it's a mindset shift, and there's things that the way you approach a bunch of cross-sector issues. The reason I bring this up is because every federal agency has a different definition, and different consultants are going to have different definitions. And now I'm seeing it's being thrown around a lot and not even being used like what I would think is appropriate. Like, I think sustainability and climate change and resilience and resiliency and mitigation and emergency response and preparedness, a lot of these words are getting kind of mixed up. And there are some pretty high level delineations among those. So I think that when you're putting out an RFP is being clear about what it is you actually want. Don't just throw in a buzzword. I would, if I was in charge of a city or state, I would make sure that I was clear about what those expectations were and what our community or what I saw as resilience, what sustainability is. Because the other thing is the quality of your RFP is going to attract the same type of proposals that you're going to get. So it does kind of attract. So you do need to put some effort into those RFPs. I am glad my friend reached out to me. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to help her too much, but I was able to connect her to some resources that could. So I think that the first thing is that there's no expert on ARPA, and there's no expert on infrastructure bill because it hasn't even passed. Though I do think everybody should be keeping their eyes on it. Now, as time's going on, there are some people who know a lot more than other people, certainly more than me. But you do need to keep your eye on this stuff. And if you're looking for contractors to do grants management, procurement, grant applications, grant writing, someone who understands the federal agencies that you're working with, the compliance issues, especially supplemental funding, that they have that experience. And then if they're actually in your space, and if the contractor is not in your space, if they have a strong partner or subcontractor who is in that space. So, and then the final thing again was sustainability, resilience, and climate change, and all these different words that are kind of being interchanged. So you be clear about what it is you want, and I think you'll start attracting the businesses that you're hoping for. So best of luck. I know a lot of the communities are very overwhelmed right now. So I am thinking of you. I really am. So, and with this pending infrastructure bill too, that's a lot of work. So, best of luck to all of you. I know a lot of communities, even mine, we got flooded last night, are not in the best place right now. So we do need that help. So hopefully you can get in touch with me. Again, I'm Kirsten McGregor. My company is Sagax Associates, and you can reach us at SAGAXassociates.com. And I will be on here soon. Take care. I hope everyone's doing well. Bye.